Hey guys, Ms. Hanson here, and we're going to talk about the court cases that are covered in the Early Republic unit. We'll start off with the most important one, and that is Marbury versus Madison. So we know John Adams was the second president, and he lost his bid for re-election to Thomas Jefferson, his vice president. And before he left office, Adams tried to fill as many judge positions with other members of his same political party as he could before he left. So he was a Federalist, so he's trying to stack the court system in Washington, D.C. with other Federalists. Well, to be a judge in the 1800s, you had to first be appointed by the president, then you had to be approved by the Senate, and then you had to receive a formal commission, which is just a letter, kind of like a contract saying you are a judge and it is official. So you couldn't be a judge if you didn't have all three of those things. Well, all of the judge appointees didn't get their commission in time, and one of those was William Marbury. So William Marbury didn't get his commission before Thomas Jefferson came into office, and James Madison was Jefferson's Secretary of State, and he was tasked with, or just given the responsibility of delivering the commissions to the judges. Well, Jefferson told him not to, and he didn't. So you don't go over the head of the sitting president, so he didn't. Well, William Marbury sued Madison, and the Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional to force Madison to deliver the papers. And this is the shortest, most edited version of what Marbury versus Madison is, because I'm only telling you what you need to know for the purposes of your quiz and unit assessments and ultimately your STAR test this year. So Marbury versus Madison, the ruling was that it was unconstitutional to make Madison deliver those appointments. And so this established the concept of judicial review. And judicial review is the right of the Supreme Court to declare the actions of Congress or the president unconstitutional. So when you see Marbury, Madison, John Marshall, judicial review, all those things will go together. If you see something asking about judicial review, the question will almost always reference Marbury versus Madison. And then if they ask who was the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the time, that's going to be William Marbury. Not William Marbury, John Marshall. John Marshall. I have notes. I print out the slides and I cut them up tiny so that I can reference back to them, so I'll stay in order. And if I'm looking at something, I will just start reading it. So the Supreme Court Chief Justice is John Marshall. And just like the Chief of Police is the head of the police department, John Marshall is the head of the Supreme Court. So he was the person who wrote the court decision that established judicial review in Marbury versus Madison. And this court case is significant because it increased the power of the federal government and the judicial branch. So that makes it important. And then the next court case we'll talk about is Gibbons versus Ogden. And like I said, this is the short version of the explanation for this court case. But the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government's in charge of interstate commerce. Interstate means across state lines. Anytime commerce or business or trade happens across state lines, the federal government is in charge of that. And then in McColloch versus Maryland, that case ruled that, or the Supreme Court ruled in that case, that the government does not have to pay the state taxes. So that is the super short version of those court cases. So Marbury versus Madison establishes judicial review. John Marshall, Supreme Court Justice at the time, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And then Gibbons versus Ogden says that let me make sure I get them in order. Yes, Gibbons versus Ogden was the next one. I don't want to get out of order with you guys. So Gibbons versus Ogden ruled that the government's in charge of interstate commerce, and then McColloch versus Maryland says that the federal government will not pay the state's taxes. So remember to fill out your attendance form daily. That's super important. Also, remember you can use your notes on your quizzes online. So these notes are always going to be available through your daily agenda, which is linked on your classroom stream. Or you can go to your classroom stream and your teachers will be posting them there too. So if you can't find them, email me at shasta.hanson@txkisd.net and I will send them to you personally. But you can use the notes on the quizzes. Definitely do that. They're open note quizzes. They should be free 100s. So I will be back in just a minute with the Louisiana Purchase.